You have been saying the same things to women for years. You know the basic courtesies, the compliments, the nice guy phrases that make a man feel like he is doing the right thing. But then something happens. She pulls away. She gives shorter answers. She stops looking at you the way she used to. And you are left wondering what changed when nothing on your end actually did. The answer might be simpler than you think. Research in social psychology shows that the way a man speaks to a woman does something far more powerful than he realizes. It is not about what you say. It is about what your words communicate beneath the surface. It is about understanding the invisible architecture of attraction and what actually registers in her mind when you speak. 3 phrases exist that shift something fundamental. They are not pickup lines. They are not tricks designed to manipulate her or make her feel obligated to you. They are phrases rooted in real human psychology that change how she perceives your presence, your intention, and your emotional capacity. When spoken with genuine presence, they create a feeling in her nervous system that most men never understand. This is not about seduction. This is about understanding and respect. None of this works without genuine care for the person in front of you. The first phrase is one that most men have been taught to avoid. Your parents probably warned you against it. Hollywood portrayed it as weak and needy. But psychology tells us something completely different about its real power. Imagine this. You are sitting across from a woman. Conversation has been natural. There is an ease between you. But she is sharing something that matters to her. Maybe it is a concern about her career. Maybe it is an insecurity she does not usually voice. The moment is tender. And instead of jumping in with advice or trying to fix her problem, you pause. You look at her. And you say these words, "I need you." Now listen to what that actually communicates on a psychological level. When you say those words, you are saying something radical to a woman in a world that has told her to be independent, self-sufficient, and never let anyone need her. You are saying that she matters. You are saying that her presence in your life is essential, not optional. You are saying that you are not trying to be the strong one who rescues her. You are acknowledging that you are incomplete without her. Research in attachment psychology shows that women feel attraction intensify when they sense that they matter to a man. Not in a codependent way, not in a way that makes her responsible for your happiness, but in a way that says she has actual significance in your life. Most men spend their entire time trying to convince a woman that she needs him. The man who communicates that he needs her, that is the one she cannot forget. A woman in her late 40s told me something profound. She said that after 23 years of marriage, the moment that made her fall deeper in love with her husband was when he said those exact words. Not during a grand romantic gesture, not during a moment when everything was perfect, but during an ordinary Tuesday night when he was vulnerable enough to admit he was struggling with something. And he said, "I need your perspective on this. I need your presence right now." She told me that was the moment she stopped wondering if he would leave, because she understood that his choice to stay with her was genuine, not out of obligation. The phrase works because it is honest, and a woman can sense the difference between genuine presence and performance. If your intention is not honest, none of this will work. Women feel everything. The second phrase operates on an entirely different psychological principle. This one touches something in her nervous system that activates trust at the deepest level. Most men never use it. Most men think it undermines their position. But what it actually does is the opposite. The phrase is this: "Tell me what you need from me." When you say this, you are communicating several things simultaneously on a subconscious level. You are saying that you are secure enough to not assume you already know what she wants. You are saying that her needs matter enough for you to ask directly. And most importantly, you are saying that you are willing to adjust yourself based on what she tells you. That is not weakness. That is emotional intelligence, and it is magnetic. Think about what most men do instead. They guess. They make assumptions about what a woman wants based on what they have read in magazines or seen in movies. They pursue an imaginary version of her instead of getting to know the actual person in front of them. And then they wonder why she seems to pull away. When a man says, "Tell me what you need from me," he is stepping out of that pattern completely. Psychologists call this adaptive communication. A woman's nervous system registers this as safety. When she knows that you are not going to force her into a mold you have created, when she knows that you are actually listening for what matters to her, something shifts. She relaxes. She opens. She becomes more herself around you. Picture this. You have been spending time with a woman for a few months. The connection feels good, but you sense something is different. She is less engaged than she was before. And instead of pretending everything is fine or waiting for her to say something first, you sit down and you ask her directly. You say, "I have noticed you seem distant, and I want to understand why. Tell me what you need from me right now." What happens in that moment is profound. She feels seen. She feels like her experience matters enough that you are willing to step away from your own assumptions and actually listen. Most men fear that asking this question will expose their weakness, but what it actually exposes is your strength, your willingness to adjust, your openness to being wrong, your investment in her experience, not just your own. A woman in her mid-50s shared this with me. She said that she had been dating a man for about 8 months and things were starting to feel comfortable. But she was holding back a part of herself. She had not told him about her insecurities around aging or her fear that he would eventually want someone younger. One night he asked her what she needed from him. And when she finally told him, he did not argue. He did not reassure her with empty platitudes. He listened. He asked follow-up questions, and he adjusted how he showed up in the relationship based on what she shared. She said that was the moment she felt truly chosen by him. The power of this phrase is that it moves you out of the role of guesser and into the role of partner. And that distinction changes everything about how a woman relates to you. The third phrase is the one that most men shy away from because it requires real vulnerability, but it is also the one that creates the deepest emotional resonance. Most men will never say it. That is why the men who do become unforgettable. Here is the phrase, "I was afraid you would leave." Now, most men have been taught that admitting fear is the ultimate disqualifier. He is supposed to be the rock, the stable one, the one who has it all figured out. But evolutionary psychology shows us something different. A woman does not feel attracted to a man because he has no fears. She feels attracted to a man who has fears and chooses presence anyway. When you admit to a woman that you were afraid, you are not asking her to rescue you. You are sharing a piece of your internal experience with her. You are saying that this matters enough to you that you allowed yourself to be vulnerable. That is profoundly different from weakness. That is courage. Think about it from her perspective. Most men project absolute certainty. They act like they have everything figured out. And what that communicates to a woman is that there is no room for her to matter because nothing touches him. But when a man admits fear, what he is actually communicating is that she has enough power in his emotional landscape to create vulnerability. That is attractive at a neurological level. Imagine this scenario. You have been seeing a woman for several months and the connection is deepening, but you have been noticing her pulling back slightly, less frequent contact, shorter conversations. And instead of ignoring it or confronting her defensively, you share what is true for you. You say something like, "I have to be honest with you. I have been afraid. I was afraid that if I let myself fully care about you, if I showed you how much you matter to me, that you would realize something was wrong with me and you would leave. And I did not want that to be true." What happens in that moment is that you have moved from protection into honesty. You have shown her that your distance or your hesitation is not about her. It is about your own fear. And when a woman understands that a man's behavior is rooted in fear rather than rejection of her, something shifts. She stops taking it personally. She starts wanting to move toward him. Research in neuroscience shows that when a man expresses fear in a grounded way, a woman's mirror neurons activate. Her nervous system reads it as a moment of genuine human connection, not as weakness. This communicates safety and emotional trust more powerfully than any amount of performance or certainty ever could. A woman in her early 60s told me something that stuck with me. She said that after her divorce, she thought she was done with romantic connection. She was self-sufficient. She did not need a man. But she met someone who about 6 months into their relationship sat her down and said something that changed everything. He said, "I am terrified of losing you. I know you are independent and you do not need me, but I need you. And I was afraid to tell you that because I thought it would push you away." She said that that moment of honesty, that admission of fear, made her realize that she wanted to build something with him because she finally understood that he was not trying to own her or fix her. He was simply human, afraid of loss, and honest about it. The reason these 3 phrases are so powerful is that they break the pattern of how most men approach women. Most men think that attraction is about impressing her, about proving your value, about showing her that you have everything handled. But real attraction is built on something far more subtle and far more real. It is built on understanding. It is built on presence. It is built on the willingness to be honest about what is true for you. This is not a trick. It is not a game. It is how real human connection works. And when you shift from trying to create attraction to being the kind of man who genuinely shows up, something changes. Not just for her, for you. The way these phrases work together is interesting. The first phrase, "I need you," establishes that she matters. The second phrase, "Tell me what you need from me," establishes that you are listening. And the third phrase, "I was afraid you would leave," establishes that you are willing to be real. Together, they create a pattern of communication that most men never develop. And that pattern is what separates the men who women remember from the men who women move past. A word of caution though, timing matters. These phrases only work when they are genuine. If you are saying these words as a technique to manipulate her, she will feel it. Women sense the difference between authentic vulnerability and performance vulnerability. These phrases are not things you say once and expect to fix everything. They are part of a larger pattern of showing up with integrity and presence over time. Most men live their entire lives wondering why the women they care about seem to keep some part of themselves closed off from them. They wonder why the connection never goes as deep as they want. But the men who understand this communication architecture, the men who are willing to say, "I need you," and mean it, the men who are curious enough to ask, "Tell me what you need from me," the men who are brave enough to admit when they are afraid, those men create something different. They create resonance. Think about what your woman is actually searching for. She is not searching for perfection. She is not waiting for a man who has everything figured out. She is waiting for a man who is willing to be real, who is willing to see her clearly and ask her what she actually needs rather than projecting his own needs onto her, who is willing to admit that she matters enough to create vulnerability in him. Most men will never understand this. Most men will keep doing what they have always done and wondering why nothing changes. But the fact that you are here, the fact that you are thinking about this, tells me something about you. You are different. You are the kind of man who is willing to evolve, who is willing to step outside the pattern of what most men do and actually listen to what real connection requires. The deepest part of this is understanding what these phrases actually represent. They represent a man who has moved past the need to be the hero of someone else's story. They represent a man who is secure enough to be honest. They represent a man who understands that attraction is not about tricks or techniques. It is about presence. It is about respect. It is about the willingness to see another person clearly and be seen in return. As you move forward, notice what happens when you shift this way. Notice what changes when a woman feels like you genuinely need her, not as a savior, but as a partner. Notice what shifts when she realizes you are actually listening to her instead of planning your next move. Notice how the quality of connection deepens when you are willing to admit fear instead of performing confidence. This is the foundation of the kind of relationships that actually last. The kind where both people feel chosen. The kind where both people are willing to be real. The kind where a woman does not have to wonder if you will stay, because she knows that your presence is genuine and not conditional on her meeting some invisible standard you have set. What comes next takes this even deeper. There are specific moments in every interaction where these phrases will land most powerfully. There is a science to understanding not just what to say, but when and how to say it. And the men who understand that distinction are the ones who create lasting resonance with the women in their lives. You are not going to want to miss that. Comment real below if this connected with you.